are now going to talk about redefining the screen, Samsung's vision for future TV advertising. Christian Russ is here, Samsung's Ads Commercial Director DACH, and he's going to be talking to Lara Sophie Bothur, Global Corporate Tech Influencer, Deloitte. She was here before, so some of you have already got to meet her. What does TV mean when everything is a screen? And we're going to talk about exactly that. I'm glad you're all here, and I'm glad you're going to put your hands together for our next guest on the stage here, on the center stage of DMEXCO 2025. Please welcome Christian Russ and Lara Sophie Bothur. Thank you very much for being here. Have fun. Thank you.
Let's take a seat again here.
Thank you.
So, Christian, maybe the first question: how much do you watch? How much do you watch TV?
Oh, way too much.
Yeah.
Way too much. I love watching.
You need to
TV.
say that, right?
Yes. I guess I'll have to, but yes, unfortunately, I probably watch more TV than I'd like to, but there's certain things I just have to watch. I love football, for example, so
Yes.
I'm probably spending too much time watching football on TV. Yeah.
Okay. Can you also tell us a bit more about the current situation? What is the viewership? Not only how much you watch, but how is society developing in that field?
Yeah, I mean, TV viewing is actually more stable than most of us might think.
Yeah.
So, for example, in Germany, we've just conducted a study with WPP, and that study shows that on German smart TVs, whether they're Samsung smart TVs or other smart TV brands, on average, consumers watch 160 minutes a day.
Okay.
But what has definitely changed over the last few years is that now 60% of viewing time on smart TVs in Germany is in streaming apps, and only 40% is in linear.
Yeah.
And for all audiences which are 54 years or younger, it's actually 2/3 of time which is now spent in streaming apps. So there's definitely been a shift towards streaming, especially amongst the younger audiences.
And that doesn't mean, we were talking about that yesterday, that people are still buying TVs, right?
They're still buying TVs.
And
yeah.
they are buying even more now through Netflix and so.
Well, I'm not sure if they're buying more TVs, but they're
Yeah.
definitely buying TVs. And
Yeah.
they're using TVs for more than actually watching
Yeah.
lean-back content. They're actually using them for gaming. So if you buy a Samsung TV, for example, today, you've got a cloud gaming platform which is built into the TV. And in some European markets, like the UK, we're already seeing that more than 10% of all TV viewing time is actually in gaming.
Oh,
A
wow.
little bit less in Germany, but gaming is definitely, a big factor that we don't traditionally think about when it comes to TV, but it's a very important time factor.
You were already talking about gaming. Yesterday we were also talking about the home screens that shift a bit. So from linear to connected TV, what do user interfaces look like today?
Yeah, so that's another big change. So the way we discover content on smart TVs is very different. And I'm just realizing we actually have a few slides here to showcase what the consumer experience looks like, because I think it's very important for everybody who doesn't own, one of the newer smart TV versions from Samsung or again from other brands. They all tend to look fairly similar, and the viewership journey now starts with a TV menu rather than with the traditional broadcast.
Yes.
So we know that already 75% of smart TV viewers actually see this sort of screen when they switch on their TV. And obviously, you can imagine that when you see a screen like this, you start discovering content in a very different way.
Yeah.
So on average,
that way. What is the different way?
Yeah. So on average, again in Germany, consumers spend 5 minutes trying to find content. They might dip into an app, come back out.
Watching trailers.
Yeah. And engaging with the different viewing recommendations that are pulling through here.
Yeah.
And again, younger audiences are spending even more time.
Mm-hmm.
And 40% of consumers don't know what they want to watch when they turn on their TV. And again, younger audiences, for them it's a 50% figure. So what we're seeing with the home screen changing, that there's new opportunities also for brands and not just for traditional content providers.
Yeah, and how do you place ads here on the home screen?
Well, so you see an example here from ZDF in Germany promoting one of their shows in the ZDF Mediathek. But brands have also started to dip into that space, because again, what we found in the WPP study is that a third of consumers are actually open for brand content on the home screen. And again, amongst the younger audiences, 18 to 24-year-olds, that even goes up to 50%. So we saw more and more brands sort of tapping into that space, but obviously you need to be respectful of the consumer experience, which is all about lean back and entertainment first. So one of my favorite examples that has happened fairly recently, so I live in London and I love watching Wimbledon. So during the Wimbledon finals weekend, which was obviously the women's finals on the Saturday and the men's is on Sunday, Rolex actually took over Samsung home screens in the UK. And what they did is when consumers turned on their TV, as I believe you're about to see in this video, you had the masthead format, and as you can see, it's all about Carlos Alcaraz. When you started engaging with the format, it opens up to this beautiful, immersive, full-screen experience. And from here, it was only one click into, I believe this was an 8-minute documentary, which I really recommend. And this actually is not part of the ad experience anymore, but it sits on YouTube. Right? So it only takes one click to get into the content on YouTube. And there's so many brands that have content on YouTube, so many brands that are playing with creator content. We just heard about it in the session before. And I think that's one of the shifts on smart TVs, that consumers discover content differently. And because that's the case, brands can sort of tap into that experience and almost become a broadcaster in their own right, take over prime time and tell their own stories. So that's a big shift.
And it's all focused on the home screen, but like, do you also go in between like series, for example, slots? Will that change too?
So yes, there's lots that's changing. Obviously, if you want to think about a total TV experience, you would no longer just book linear content, but you would book streaming. And that's a challenge for a lot of brands. And what we try to do, and what the industry is trying to do, is obviously trying to solve the conundrum of not really understanding where the audiences are, because traditional measurement systems, doing a pretty good job of trying to catch up, but they're not quite there yet. And we're, for example, at Samsung, we're in a very lucky position that we have data that allows us to capture what's happening on the TV. So we understand TV holistically, from the discovery on the home screen through to the content consumption in linear and in apps, and importantly, the ad exposure as well, which means we're in the very lucky position to be able to help brands to understand that exposure and then drive incremental viewership on top of it.
And from all the data you have collected, like, what is the most unexpected thing you have understood from it?
That's a very good question. I mean, I personally am always surprised how much time is being spent in gaming. But because I've been doing this job for way too long, so there are not many things that surprise me anymore. But it's certainly true that lots of our clients are surprised that when it comes to smart TVs, how much viewership has actually shifted to streaming. Because it's obviously different on traditional TVs. But again, in Germany, we now have 70% of households using, smart TVs actively. So they don't just have a smart TV, not actually using it, but they're actively connected to the internet. And on those TVs, we see very few campaigns that manage to reach more than 40% in audience via linear. And the rest of the potential has to be lifted via streaming. And that still comes to a big surprise to lots of marketing decision makers, and especially those who don't necessarily have a TV like this at home.
Yeah, when I take a look at my own user behavior, I never just watch a Netflix series. I always, have my smartphone in my hands, like preparing LinkedIn posts, and then having probably also 2 laptops, next to me. So there is a attention economy, I guess. And the question is, like, how do you win attention in that multi-device usage? And how do you not only gain attention, but also like use this behavior. Like, for example, you know, I think if you have your smartphone in your hand and you watch an ad, you are like not too many steps away from buying something anymore because you know, you can also combine that. How do you do this?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, first of all, now I finally know why you have so many LinkedIn followers, since you're clearly working on that while you're watching TV. Yes, you're absolutely right that the smartphone is our friend and companion, obviously.
Yeah.
And we do tend to use it while we watch TV. But again, our research has also shown that consumers are actually engaging with ads, and ads are influencing them.
Yes.
And I would say, so how do you bridge that gap? I mean, first of all, you know, from a technical point of view, there's very simple things that can be done, like the good old QR code, right? And that's probably only the very first step on a journey to create more interactive experiences. But from a consumer point of view, I think, you know, when it comes to capturing attention, I think it really is about the storytelling, right? So how do you capture attention? First of all, you know, when you think about TV holistically. So take advantage of the data and insights to actually, first of all, reach consumers, right? Because if you don't actually reach consumers, like, reach is the most important thing, because without reach, there is no attention, right? But then also be respectful of the environment. So start telling your story on the home screen in a certain way, which may be different from how you're telling your story in traditional ads. Yeah? But also think about how you can potentially bring creator content for very specific audiences onto the TV screen. Because of all the data that we have, we can really target very specific audiences as well.
Yeah.
And we don't just use TV data, we've actually started combining Samsung mobile data with our TV data set. So again, we're very lucky in that way that we've got the biggest combined TV and mobile deterministic data set. And that allows us, you know, gives us a really deep understanding of what sort of apps you're using throughout the entire day. And again, allows us to target users much more precisely. And allows us to bring that sort of more targeted creator experience potentially to the TV.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, it's just the same when you watch Netflix, and they always recommend the same things, right? So they know your user behavior. So what is the role of AI? How do you use all the data to create a highly personalized experience watching your smart TV?
Yeah. So, I mean, first of all, Samsung use AI to make devices better. So Samsung have been the #1 smart TV brand for 19 consecutive years, not just in Germany, but pretty much everywhere. And the reason for that is that Samsung is continuing to drive innovation. Actually, there's a Samsung booth as well, where you can sort of experience some of those consumer experiences here at DMEXCO. But yeah, first of all, what we're doing is we're using AI to make the viewing experience better. We're using AI to make the content discovery experience better, because there's so much content, it can be a bit overwhelming. But then when it comes to Samsung ads, we're obviously also trying to use AI to make sense of all that data that we have. And to model some of that data. But again, when it comes to the consumer experience and how we actually engage consumers, I think in the future we'll probably see much more usage of AI to tell stories in different ways to different audiences. And you know, again, when you think about the home screen and acting more as a broadcaster, as a brand, with the help of AI, you might be able to create lots of engaging content pieces that speak to lots of different audiences and capture them in a way that goes above and beyond traditional advertising. So I think that's where it becomes really exciting. And then if you think about matching that with mobile and, you know, potential, payment data, which is integrated into the TV, you can really see the TV set taking the same journey that we've taken on the mobile to go from a device that's just about lean back to a much more engaging experience.
And this engaging part is, I think, very interesting because, I mean, with linear TV, you can't interact like you could with a smart TV. And And we had just had that, and I think there was one Netflix movie I was watching where you can make decisions on like how you want this movie to be continued.
Yeah.
And this is for me a very highly personalized experience. Is something like that interaction with ads? Is this something we can expect in the future?
Yes, we've actually, I believe there's a video here about this. So we've actually piloted this in the UK. Hasn't come to continental European markets yet. But here's an example where we're actually built a mini game into an ad break.
Nice. Yeah.
So you can use your remote control to play a very simple game. The questions are obviously tailored to the brand. So the first brand that's actually booked this in the UK is Domino's. So you see a game which is related to Domino's Pizza.
Yes.
In a fun little way, and you play with your remote control. If you don't play, the game just runs through. And then after the game, you see the actual spot. So that's one example. But also what we're doing in the US already is we actually have creators who are taking over ad pods to tell stories for brands.
Yeah.
And actually turn the ad pods into almost like mini shows with regards to a certain brand. And obviously, again, when you start linking that up to shopping, it becomes a much more engaging experience for consumers. So early research has shown that the engagement rates and also the brand metrics that we can drive with these interactive formats are way superior to traditional advertising.
Yes.
But I would say it's still very early days, but I would definitely encourage brands to really think about, how can you take advantage of all of these opportunities on CTV, which go way above and beyond traditional video formats.
So if you speak to the advertisers right now, what are the 1, 2, 3 steps they need to take right now?
Yeah, again, I would say think TV holistically, and that means think about the very first TV touch point, which is the home screen, right? Then think about understanding TV holistically by, speaking to partners like ourselves and many other in markets who have a very deep understanding of how audiences behave. Then book holistically, cross streaming and linear. If you're not booking streaming on TV, you're probably missing half of your audience.
Yes.
And then last but not least, again, use that data afterwards to gain a really deep understanding of the audiences that you reach on linear.
Yeah.
What else are they doing? How are they behaving? What sort of audience are they compared with the audience you reach on streaming? So if you just do those things, take advantage of the data and insights, book CTV video, and think about the home screen, then you're probably on the right path.
Okay, and maybe one last question, not only speaking about 2026, but maybe some years ahead, where will this TV experience be? Will we continue to use smart TVs, or is there something else ahead you see as a trend? Are we all in the metaverse in the future? No television anymore. All are just rooms, TV as a room. What is it?
What we're seeing right now is that consumers want to enjoy content on a big screen.
Yeah.
What that screen looks like and how we get to that big screen, that devices probably will continue to change. But a fact is that consumers still love entertainment on a big screen. And on smart TVs, we see that even content that's 10 minutes and longer, right? The smart TV is the #1 device for that sort of content, which again speaks to the fact that more and more creator content is also consumed on TV. So thinking about that,
yes,
I think as we move into the future, we'll see that with AI, with voice and payment data being integrated, you'll see even more content than today. And it'll become even easier to engage with your TV in a natural way, rather than scanning a QR code as we do today. So I think, gamification and interaction on TV will become much more important, in addition to what we do already. So if anything, I think a bigger screen will become even more important. Whether it looks exactly as it does today remains to be seen.
So we probably have a whole Samsung room in the future to watch TV.
Well, let's see, right? But screen sizes are constantly getting bigger, right? And that's what consumers demand because they love great entertainment on a big screen.
Yeah. So maybe you can finish the sentence. The future of TV ads will be?
Hopefully entertaining.
Cool. Thank you so much, Christian.
Well, thank
you,
you.
everyone.